Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Narendra Raju and today we will discuss about the applications of nanotechnology in food packaging. We all know that packaging has several functions like the containment, convenience, communication, and the important one is protection. And in today's module we will learn what are these functions and what are the available packaging materials for food applications and what are the plus and minus or the advantages and disadvantages of the existing packaging materials and the biodegradable materials which have been used for developing some of the packaging materials and their challenges. How to increase the properties in terms of the barrier attributes or the antimicrobial attributes of the developed bio-based or synthetic materials by incorporating certain reinforcing agents or additives which are in nano size. That is how the application of nanotechnology can be introduced into packaging applications. So, wherever the nanoparticles have been introduced, they have been termed as polymer nanocomposites. If it is biomaterial, bio-nanocomposites. So, friends, we will learn about the application of these nanomaterials in food packaging and understand how it is currently being used in the packaging industry. So, there are several functions of food packaging. If we can look at the several functions, they can be classified into four major ones: containment, protection, convenience, and communication. Now, with the greater emphasis being given on communication by the regulatory affairs, more and more information is to be put on the pack label so that the consumers will understand and get to know about the contents in it. With respect to the protection, it is not just mere covering of the food materials and packing it, but again to provide sophisticated and individualistic kind of protection to the products. Similar is the case with convenience. The packaging material should offer not only convenience in reclosing and opening, but it also provide convenience in terms of ready to eat foods. So, these are the several functions. The basic function is anyway containment. We know that several packaging materials are available for providing all these functions and to help us, like the glass, metals, paper and paper based materials, plastics, biopolymer based materials, and their inherent properties are different, and that is the reason why no one particular packaging material is having the all kind of properties what as a food processor we expect to have. So, that is the reason why we depend on several multiple combination of these packaging materials. But in any case, nearly 40% of the packaging material what we use is the plastics, followed by metals and glass which are around 8 to 10% in general, and paper and paperboard based materials which are nearly about 10 to 15%. Now, all these packaging materials will end up in either recycle form, or sometimes if it is not properly managed, they end up in a municipal solid waste. Now, that is the reason why more and more emphasis is being given on the application of biomaterials in developing packaging materials, because these plastic materials are not degradable in the nearly about 1 million years too or so. It has been forecasted that in 1 million years or so also these plastic metals are not degraded. So, people have started thinking about the bio-based polymers, and there are several bio-based polymers or which have been directly extracted from the biomass, or which they have been extracted or derived from the monomers, and some of these biopolymers have been produced directly by the microorganisms. So, all these biopolymers which have been displayed here do contain or they have been used for making several of these plastic materials, but their properties is not always the same when compared to the synthetic plastics. Now, some of these bio-based materials, for example, polylactic acid 1 and the polystyrene 1 look alike, and it is very difficult to distinguish between these two characteristics. Now, if you look at this graph, you can comfortably see that the mechanical properties of the films, both the synthetic as well as the microbial origin based materials or the agriculture origin based materials, they are completely different. The synthetic ones are having a balanced percent elongation as well as the tensile stress, whereas the materials which have been developed from agricultural origin based sources, they are lacking in both the elongation at break percentage as well as the tensile strength, whereas the microbial ones were found to have very high tensile strength, but poor elongation at break. Now, similar is the case with several of these plastic materials and the bio based materials. We can see that the water vapor permeability and the gas permeability permeability of these bio based materials is completely different and very inferior in compared to the synthetic materials. As the case has been highlighted here, you can see the low density polyethylene has very low water vapor permeability when compared to the bio based materials which have very high water vapor permeability due to their hydrophilicity, and in comparison with aluminum foil, they are really far inferior. However, they have better gas barrier properties. When compared to LDPE, most of these bio based materials have very good gas permeability properties or the gas impermeability. You can see that LDPE has nearly 1003 units of the gas or oxygen permeability in comparison with HDPE nearly 224. That itself indicates that these have very poor gas permeability or very high gas impermeability or gas barrier properties. Now, one of the important challenge is to address these properties of the bio based materials, and several attempts have been made to use different techniques like barrier coatings have been tried, metallization of the films have been tried, the co-extrusion with several kind of biomaterials or synthetic plastics have been tried, and reinforcing agents have also been tried. Now, among the reinforcing agents, the current interest is in using those materials which are of nano in size. Apart from this nanomaterials incorporation, the other techniques what we have or which have been tried are using of hydrophobic materials, cross-linking agents such as the physical ones or the chemical based methods or the enzymatic ones, and introduction of new plasticizers such as urea or formamide, etc. So, among all this, the nanoparticles have been gaining an interest among the polymer scientists and the packaging specialists, and their applications are also being extended to the food industry. The main reason being these materials are in nano size, and several of these nanomaterials which have been used in packaging applications are layered silicates or layered titanates or the carbon nanotubes or some of these cellulose based nanomaterials. Now, all nanoparticles are not of interest. Those nanomaterials which have an ability to work at the atomic, molecular and even submolecular levels, in order to create and use those material structures, devices and systems with new properties and functions. Now, only those materials which have or having these kind of properties are of important in the nanoscience, and that is the reason why there may be several nanoparticles, but when they do not have the new properties, when their size is reduced, they are not of any importance. So, normally the particle size is in the range of 1 to 100 nanometers. As we all know, nano itself is derived from the Greek word meaning dwarf. Now, if you look at the nanoparticles, they can be classified into several types, like one dimensional compounds or the two dimensional ones or the three dimensional ones, and you can see that there are of different types like nanoparticles and nanospheres, nanotubes or nanosheets. Depending on the morphology and structure of these particles, they can be classified any of these, and almost all have been tried with packaging applications. Now, the greatest advantage of these nanomaterials is their high total surface area and total volume remains the same, but the surface to volume ratio is again increasing, and this total surface area as well as surface area to volume ratio, when it is increases with the reduction in size, is all that packaging or the polymer scientist is interested, and we are in the food packaging applications, we are also interested in those properties when the size is getting diminished, how it is going to affect the functional property of those packaging materials. Now, in general, such kind of materials where the nanoparticles are incorporated into polymers, they are called as polymer nanocomposites, and a mixture of polymers with inorganic and or organic additives have certain geometries, but when we incorporate nanomaterials, they are called as nanocomposites. For the first time, the applications of these nanomaterials were developed and commercialized by the Toyota Research Foundation at Japan in late 1980s, and all these nanomaterials have very high aspect ratio, that is length by width ratio is very high to provide a better reinforcing effect due to high surface area, and sometimes these are also compounds which contribute to the activeness or smartness of the films that are produced. So, in food packaging applications, normally the phyllosilicates, or which are 2:1 layered silicates, are commonly used to improve the barrier properties, and hence we are of much interested. But there are other nanomaterials which are also used, such as the cellulose nanofibers, and there are several forms of cellulose nanofibers which can be incorporated into the packaging materials. Now, if you look at the applications of these nanoparticles in food packaging, they are primarily used for improving the barrier properties, or to provide some activeness, or to provide some smartness or intelligence, and in some of the radio frequency identification tags too, these nanometals have been used. In terms of barrier packaging applications, the materials are used to, whenever they have been incorporated into the normal or conventional packaging materials, they have been reported to reduce the oxygen barrier properties or the water vapor properties, which have a direct impact on the shelf life of the product. And in terms of active packaging, the materials are bound to interact with the internal headspace of the packed food and extend the shelf life. In terms of intelligent packaging systems, they have been mostly used to develop some kind of sensors or freshness indicators, which can provide the consumers a non-destructive kind of evaluation in order to assess the quality and the status of the product in terms of its quality. The procedures and systems in place to monitor food supply and authenticity have been conceptualized and developed using these nanomaterials, and mostly in the form of RFID tags and several other tagging systems. So, as I just mentioned, these polymer clay nanocomposites or the layered silicates mostly have been attempted with montmorillonite, which is a natural clay, which is generally having a chemical formula of the one which has been displayed on your screen, but mostly it contains the aluminum and magnesium oxides or the silicon based material. So, it is a representative of 2:1 layered phyllosilicate, because the morphology itself indicates that they have 2 layers of tetrahedral silica sheets filled with a central octahedral alumina sheet. Now, 3 different kind of the structures are possible whenever layered silicate is incorporated into a polymer. Now, we can see on this picture, there are 3 important compounds, that is the microcomposite or the nanocomposite, and the third one nanocomposite with exfoliation. Now, as a packaging technologist, we are interested in those kind of nanocomposites in which the phyllosilicates are exfoliated. That means, they have been discretely separated, so that they provide some kind of barrier to the permeant. Now, on the right hand corner or top corner of the screen, you can see that the permeant, whichever is coming, maybe the oxygen molecules or the water vapor molecules, have to pass through a tortuous path, which to pass through or permeate through one side of the film to the other side, and the tortuous path is created by the presence of this layered silicates. So, that is how the barrier is created, or the permeability is decreased, or barrier properties are enhanced. The cellulose nanofibers Cellulose is an abundant polysaccharide that is available, and people have tried to extract the cellulose in several forms, and the in the form of a nanostructured materials, these cellulose have been found applications in packaging too, and several sources have been tried, maybe from cotton or even from the mango puree or similar kind of materials, and it has been found that with varying the or optimizing the level of these nanofibers, you can get better properties in terms of their tensile strength or elongation at break, and also the water vapor permeability. So people have tried with the cellulose nanofibers too, to some extent in the both bio as well as synthetic films. So in any case, the barrier packaging is an important requirement in food industry to extend the shelf life of the product, and hence nanometals have been always first focused on the improving the physical and the mechanical properties by providing some kind of complicating a tortuous path for the gaseous molecules or the water vapor molecules. So mostly this is the one application in of the nanoparticles in food packaging to improve the barrier. Several other nanomaterials have been tried to provide some functionality, and under this category you can see that silver nanoparticles have been included in packaging materials to provide some activeness in terms of their antimicrobial activity or similar kind of bactericidal effect in a variety of biological processes within the bacteria, or it has been reported that several mechanisms are involved, but when the silver is used in the form of a nano size, it has been found to adhere to the cell surface of the microorganisms and degrade the lipopolysaccharides and form a formation of pits on their structures, outer membranes, and that's how it causes a destruction of the microorganism or lysis of the cell. And this is one important another application apart from improving the barrier properties of the films. Under the smart packaging system, we all know that the smart packaging provides some kind of property to the product, packaged food, by giving some communication to the consumer or the person in the supply chain without interfering with the internal atmosphere. It only just monitors and tells us, and under this category the nanoparticles have been used to develop some of the nano based sensors to provide the smartness and communicate to the consumer. So they actually reduce the time for pathogen detection from days to hours or even minutes by just it could be a colorimetric kind of interaction or similar kind of application to provide the consumers the kind of quality assurance they want. So dear students, we understood the importance of packaging, the functions of packaging, the several bio-based materials that are being used to develop the biopackaging materials, and the limitations of these biopackaging materials, and the available reinforcing agents in the form of nanoparticles, and most commonly the nanoparticles that has been used is montmorillonite, and there are several applications of montmorillonite. We could discuss only one or two applications here, and also we have understood that nano based materials like zinc oxide, silver in the form of nano or nano silver and nano zinc oxide, etc., have been used to incorporate or to address the issues of antimicrobial packaging, and that's how we learnt about the existing applications of nanomaterials in packaging.